All right, there is my cue to start the show. As of right now, it is 3:03. I would like to welcome Monica Woodson. She is the Chief Executive Officer at Girl Scouts of Southeastern Michigan. She has extensive background in nonprofit programming and leadership and extensive significant experience working with the organizations serving young people, including Girl Scouts, and Woodson served as the regional vice president with the Girl Scouts of Greater Chicago in southeastern Indiana, which, yay, that's a lot of our Cummins people, and where she was instrumental in the development of the Chicago Council's Girl Space Program, which I Googled today. Amazing. So, as of right now, I would just like to welcome Monica Woodson. And if at this point on, if everybody can stay muted and just throw their questions in the chat, we would appreciate it. Thank you so much, Monica.
Thank you, Jasmine. Let's see here. Good afternoon, everybody, and happy International Day of the Girl. Thank you to the Cummins team for the invitation. I'm excited to spend some time with you today. I'd first like to take a moment to recognize the United Nations for designating this day in 2011 to celebrate girls around the world. We could certainly ask why it took so long to have a day dedicated to girls, but instead let's focus on the fact that we are here and we have this important day to celebrate. As I was preparing for today, I came across this year's theme, Girls' Vision for the Future. The UN describes this theme as both a call for urgent action and a message of persistent hope, driven by the voices and visions of girls themselves. This theme really resonates with me and my team at Girl Scouts of Southeastern Michigan because girls' vision for the future could practically be our mission statement. Everything my team and I do is centered around one question. How can we partner with girls and their caregivers to help make their vision for the future a reality? Our goal is to create meaningful opportunities that eliminate the barriers of what girls and society think is possible. We know, though, that today's generation of girls faces tremendous challenges. According to the UN, girls are disproportionately affected by global crises like climate change, conflict, poverty, and even pushback on the progress made for human rights and gender equality. Far too many girls are still denied their rights, limiting their choices and their futures. Yet, when you look at platforms like TikTok, young people today are more engaged in social and political issues than ever before. They're certainly more engaged than I was at their age. Despite the challenges they face, recent studies show that girls aren't just resilient, but they are also deeply hopeful about the future. Every day, they're taking action to shape a world where all girls are protected, respected, and empowered. But they can't do it alone. They need allies, organizations, communities, and individuals who will listen to their needs and respond with real support. And that's where organizations like Girl Scouts come in. Together, we can amplify their voices and help turn their visions into reality. Can you go to the next slide, please? When we talk about my passion, for me, introducing young women to spaces and places where they will make a positive influence is something that will never be boring or run of the mill. And that's because today's girls are worldly and ambitious. They are eager to take on complicated challenges and tasks. And it's up to organizations like ours, working with partners like you at Cummins, to provide them with the tools, knowledge, and inspiration to boldly go forward and leave their mark on the world. Next slide, please. When Girl Scouts and other global organizations work for the advancement of young women, we make a greater impact on humanity as a whole. We are committed to empowering girls to become future leaders. Next slide, please. Too many people still see Girl Scouts as just cookie sellers. And yes, our girls sell cookies like a boss. They really do. Just for context, GSSEM sells about anywhere between 3 million to 3.5 million boxes of cookies per year. That is little girls and older girls doing their thing. Uh, Cookies are a huge part of our program, but as you will see shortly, Girl Scouts is so much more than our cookie program. My team and I are working diligently to change the narrative about what girl members are doing in 2024 and beyond. If you follow us on social media, you'll see that we often use the hashtag Beyond the Cookie. Now we've got a quick video to show you. Next slide, please. Is there sound on the video?
You'll have to share your
Yes.
sound.
Yep. Let me try that again. I'm gonna stop sharing for a minute.
Okay. What's everybody's favorite cookie? Throw that in the chat while we're waiting for the sound.
So our most popular cookies are the Thin Mints.
Uh-huh.
Not my favorite, but it is. And I was a trefoil girl, the shortbreads, until the 2 years ago when the Adventureful was introduced. The Adventureful is this chocolate fudge goodness
Okay.
that has a dollop of caramel in the middle, and it's got a drizzle of fudge across the top. It is incredible. And if anyone enjoys a cocktail with their cookie, they pair incredibly well with bourbon.
Oh, that sounds especially for fall. Warm that right up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Yolanda's
Exactly.
waiting for him to come back with the chocolate chip, but she loves the s'mores, tag-alongs. Of
I
course, mine's
saw
a
that.
samosa. Love it.
And
Samosa,
actually,
Samoa.
Samoa, I forget which one is going away. Is it the s'more or the Samoa? I think it's the s'more.
It's sadly the s'more.
Well, sorry,
Yeah, well,
Yolanda.
better stack up, Jasmine. You can always freeze them.
Yeah, that's Yolanda's favorite after the chocolate chip already left. She just likes the unique ones.
So do we want to
All right, I'm gonna try again.
going?
Yep, go ahead.
Just let me know if you guys can hear it.
Yep, we're good.
4 and 4, and then 19.
It's cookie pickup day.
37 Samoas, 11 s'mores.
It is a big part of what this brand is known for. We are moving out of this location today, about 15,000 cases of cookies. That was bad.
Next slide, please. So if you take a look at any box of Girl Scout cookies, you'll see it's more than a box of delicious treats. Inside, it's actually a building block for possibilities. Every box of cookies is a chance to change the world, and every box sold offers young women a chance to go beyond the cookie. Now, this next video that you're going to see in the next slide is among my favorite things that we've done this year. Did the volume go?
We heard it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to go a little off for a second. This Not Your Mom's Girl Scouts is the brainchild of my Marcoms chief and some of our external partners. And one of the things when we talk about changing the conversation, one of the things that we talk about is, yes, cookies are important, but how do we convey that Girl Scouts is more than cookies? And so when I saw this video, when I heard about the concept of this recruitment, why can't I talk today? Of this recruitment plan to incorporate the notion that this is not your mom's Girl Scouts, I was over the moon. And it's not sort of a diss to what we've done for the first 112 years. It is certainly a respect and admiration for that, but it's also a nod to where we're going. And so I love how it started off black and white, like the old sort of Charlie Chaplin movie, and then how it progressed to these vibrant colors, and just a reminder that it really is not your mom's Girl Scouts. Next slide, please. So the Girl Scout Cookie Program helps girls achieve their dreams of tomorrow while gaining confidence and build in business skills today. These sales fund amazing adventures, skills, and experiences that only Girl Scouts offers. Speaking of skills, did you know that a Girl Scout can earn hundreds of badges and a dozen more patches every year? Or that many Girl Scouts go on to earn their Gold Award, the highest honor a Girl Scout can receive. Next slide, please. Now, how do we do that? Because let's face it, young women are not content to stay with the same old, same old. They are engaging in the world around us with a unique perspective and different skill sets. It is our responsibility to introduce them to new opportunities and activities that engage, excite, and encourage. GSSEM offers an assortment of programs and events developed to help young women discover a new passion, begin a hobby, or chart a different career path they hadn't considered. Next slide. The partnership between GSSEM and the Michigan Women's Commission is an excellent example of how Girl Scouts can meet these formidable young women where they are. This partnership was born from a conversation Governor Whitmer and a group of other women Democratic governors were having last summer about how they can connect with more girls and young women with the intent of getting them interested in public policy and advocacy. This year-long innovative partnership, which I'm excited to report will be starting again this coming year. This program connected Girl Scouts with women leaders in government and business to promote leadership, advocacy, and civic engagement through virtual and in-person events. We had Dana Nessel join us. We had Jocelyn Benson join us. We've had city council members. We've had mayors. We've had congresswomen. It's a truly fantastic program, and girls are very much engaged with this work. Next slide, please. Girl Scouts heard inspirational talks from elected officials, as I said, including Michigan's Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, retired Congresswoman, the Honorable Brenda Lawrence, from our youngest Girl Scouts, Daisies, who are the 5-year-olds, the babies, to our oldest ambassadors, who are our juniors and seniors in high school. The girls were encouraged to use the power of their voices to make the changes they want to see in the world. The curriculum was such a success that other Girl Scout councils and women's commissions across the country are considering it as a model to develop their own partnerships. Next slide, please. This collaboration is a testament to a shared commitment to nurturing the next generation of community leaders, advocates, and activists. Next slide. For all their worldliness, young women still need guidance, and all of us are here today in the position to offer support. Next slide. Each one of us can reach even more Girl Scouts by volunteering, mentoring, and tutoring. These are ways we can meet strong young women where they are, tap into their interests, and help them discover their voice. When we work together, we can prepare young women to become global women with purpose. Thank you. Oh, that picture is awful. Thank you so much for having me. Any questions, any comments,
I'll kick us off if you don't mind, Monica. I'm just curious how you got into work like this. Like, what kind of fueled your passion for that, or how'd you get started?
So I literally fell into my career. Well, not literally, but I fell into my career. I was I was a kid who graduated from undergrad, didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted a job to buy a new car. And so I wound up, and I won't take you on the full journey of Monica, but I got a job. My very first job out of undergrad was at the Detroit Health Department, the Bureau of Substance Abuse. And we funded about 100 and however many nonprofit substance abuse prevention and treatment programs. And so the only thing until that point, the only thing I knew about the nonprofit space was, from boards my parents or my grandmother served on or things like that. So that role really gave me an introduction into the nonprofit space. And then I wound up going to work for one of the organizations. And what I discovered is that the nonprofit sector has a unique ability to have real time and long-term impact on the lives of those it serves. And you can make a good living. And so I just really enjoyed the work. And then I found my way to youth programming a few years later, and I thought, oh, okay, this is cool. I mean, it was, I was not one of those kids who had like a whole life plan drawn out. I have friends who can tell you they want to do this, this, and this, and they did it, or are doing it. That wasn't me. But I've been very fortunate to have some great mentors and people in my life who helped me kind of figure things out along the way and realize that, yeah, you actually can build a good life, have a good income, live the way you want to live, and work in a human service space as well. So,
Perfect. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you, Monica. We do have another question. How do you have any advice or teachings for any young professionals that want to go into the field of either young people or, from what we just heard, any kind of nonprofit?
I would say learn about the work of the organization, right? Learn the job, learn what the job is when you're applying for it, but also learn about the work. And I say that because I know for me, if I don't believe in the mission of the organization, I can't sell it. I can't go out and talk about it. Like I can talk about Girl Scouts all day long, right? Um, because I believe in the work that we do. And I've worked in nonprofits where I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting, but it was like, oh, the salary is good or whatever. That's not you certainly want to make a good living, but that can't be the driver. At least it shouldn't be the driver. And so in terms of the nonprofit space, do your due diligence. And this is true for any job. But I would say, especially in the human service sector, learn about the organization. And I think I will say, I do recommend all young people have an experience working in nonprofit because you can learn a whole lot of skills. Um, Working in the nonprofit space. My very first nonprofit I worked for was National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence. And they were an organization that my first job funded. And I built a rapport with their CEO. My job was to go out when I was at the health department. My job was to go out and I was an evaluator and I was helping folks figure out how to spend their money. I've never understood how nonprofits can not spend their money, but there's a lot of them that can't. So that was a big part of my job. And so he and I just built a rapport, and he was a new CEO. And so he was building his team and finding his voice as a CEO. And so I'm saying all that to say, he said, I really would love to work with you, but I don't have a job for you right now. And so over the next like 18 months or so, he called me back and was like, hey, I figured it out. So he created this job for me called Special Projects Director. When I tell you everything that didn't have its own bucket fell in special projects. So I learned how to write grants. I learned how to plan events. I learned how to manage programs. I did a little HR work. So I always say, if you want to build a lot of skills, go work at a nonprofit and really just kind of not because it's a training ground, but just because you can get a lot of experience in a short amount of time.
Thank you. What are some challenges that you've come across, either with just a general nonprofit or Girl Scouts in particular?
How much time do we have? Let's see.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I think I'll say this. So I think that working in nonprofits, has its own benefits and its own challenges. I would say no matter how big the budget is, nobody thinks they have enough money. But I'll say working in smaller organizations that don't have the brand recognition of a Girl Scouts, that don't have the budget of my council, those, and I've worked in those can be very challenging if you're fully grant funded and grant funders aren't paying, their bills on time. And if you don't have reserves, I've been an ED and I've been a staff person where, payroll could be an open question at some point. And that is, that's one of those things. You don't deal with that at Chrysler, right?
Right.
Or whatever Chrysler was called now, Stellantis. You don't deal with that in the autos and big corporations. And so that's why I also say check out nonprofits. In the age of the internet, we can do our financial due diligence on organizations. So I think, just and getting your message out. Now, I will say one of the benefits of working at a small boots on the ground nonprofit is oftentimes they are the ones that are having the real impact. They are boots on the ground. They are those trusted entities in certain communities where people know if I go to XYZ organization, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that, I'm going to get the help that I need. Working in a larger nonprofit like GSSEM, there's, the financial security is obviously a benefit, but, and I was just having this conversation yesterday, actually, we have access to spaces and places and rooms that smaller organizations often don't have. And I don't take that for granted, having been on the other side of that. But the access is so important. I think that's something that a lot of my colleagues don't, I shouldn't say they don't understand. I don't know that we process it in the way that we should. When you have access, when you have a board member who's the mayor's number two, or when you have a board member who's number two at XYZ gas company or electric company, if you need money, if you need support, if you need a speaker, if you need a whatever, if they serve on a committee and they think you need to be in that room, that's a phone call, right? And so there are, there's, as I said, there's benefits and challenges. Now, I would say a challenge of working at an organization like Girl Scouts, this 111, 12-year-old behemoth thing that everybody knows, is they think they know about you. They think they know. That's why we say not your mom's Girl Scouts, because if I polled everybody on this call and said, what do you know about Girl Scouts? The first thing they would say is cookies. The second thing they would say is, oh, you all do camps and badges. We do all of that. But at GSSEM, we are actively working to change the conversation. We are transitioning into a convener. We are bringing people together to have meaningful conversations about women and girls. We are elevating conversations about women and girls. We are claiming a space that honestly should have been ours all along. One of my goals is that in Southeastern Michigan, there should not be conversations about women and girls where Girl Scouts is not at the table. But it's incumbent upon us to change the conversation from, oh, they're just so cute and the cookies are so good, to no, they're having real conversations about the pay gap, about pay disparity, about women's health, about, fill in the blank, right? That's one of my personal goals for as long as I occupy this seat, is to change the conversation, change the perception. And I have to shout out my Marcom team, because they have caught that vision and they are actively working to support the efforts to change the narrative about who we are and what we are and what we do. And that's internally and externally.
I love that. That's so impactful. I know that this year's whole thing for International Day of the Girl is digital. Let's get digital, because we need to be pushing more girls into the digital world. It's the future. So wow, thank you. That gave us a lot of great insight. We had some good comments and everything. I think Nishant has another question for you.
Thank you, Monica, for joining with us. And if you could share and help us to know that how can we get involved to support the cause of Girl Scout of America?
So I looked that up because I knew someone was going to ask me that question. You can go to our website. You can go to our website, gssem.org, and just type in volunteer opportunities or volunteer and click enter, and it'll take you right to the page where you can volunteer. The wonderful thing about Girl Scouts is that you don't have to be a troop leader, right? We would love for you to be a troop leader, but we also recognize that not everyone has the time to make that commitment. So we have opportunities for professionals to come, or for people to come and just talk to girls. One of the things, and I haven't talked to my team about this yet, but one of the things that I would love for us to do in the next year and a half, is to host some kind of a summit. I meet so many phenomenal women and men who have a commitment to women's leadership and uplifting women, that I would love to get them in front of a group of girls and just trying to figure out how do we do that in one place and space where we are able to just have folks pour into them and share the things that they've learned throughout their career. So that's something that I want to work on over soon, and plan, hopefully, as I said, for the next year and a half, because I think that could be a really powerful thing. Because again, wherever you fall politically, there's a 50-50 chance that we're going to have a woman occupying the Oval, and Girl Scouts needs to be in the conversation. We need to be encouraging girls and women to advocate for themselves, regardless of who is in charge. And so they need to understand how to do that. They need to understand advocacy. They need to understand, advocating for themselves. And so, I meet anyone from corporate titans to physicians to teachers to, everyone in between. And so just really want to get them in the room. So we have what we call episodic volunteers. And then we also have troop leaders. So if you would like to volunteer, or if you just want to come in the office and help us, on cookie distribution, you can do that. It's you can get your workout in that day. So there's a lot of opportunities for folks to volunteer with us.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you
Monica.
so much. Yeah, that was great. Does anybody else have any other questions for Monica before we let her enjoy the rest of her lovely day?
I just read a nice comment on chat as well, that in Canada, Girl Scout is called Girl Guides.
Girl
So
Guides, yeah.
Oh, cool.
like to
Okay.
share more on
That's what I
that.
want the graph to generate the conversation.
That's kind of cool
Yeah,
to
and there's
know.
also the
Talk
World
about them.
Association
Yeah,
of
fine.
Girl Scouts
And I
and
can
Girl
say,
Guides.
oh,
And so they are
I've got
across,
this many people
literally
working
across
on
the
it,
world.
and I've had two of them who've actually completed
Okay.
something. The
Um,
speakers we got them completing
Thank you so
one
much
class.
again, Monica. This was excellent. I learned things, and I've been involved in Girl Scouts my entire life. So we would just like to thank you again for taking the time out of your day to enlighten us, to share a little bit about Girl Scouts, share a lot of bit about Girl Scouts and how impactful they are and how important it is to have them. And girls at the table, like you said, we need women at the table. We need girls at the forefront.
Thank you. Wait,
So
someone asked a question about this volunteering, since we're a nonprofit, count towards, was it EEOC time? And the short answer is yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So whatever
Yep, that
benefits
would
you
be.
would get. No,
Yeah,
I was
go
gonna say
ahead. Go ahead.
whatever credits you get for volunteering at any other nonprofit, you would get from volunteering with us.
Yep. So maybe you'll have a whole organization of the Cummins, Michigan coming down there and
I hope so.
throwing
We
cookie
would love
boxes
to
one
have
day.
you.
Yeah.
We would love to. It's a fun day. I would the video that you saw was a snippet of what the day looks like, but it is a whole machine.
Yeah.
And it's when you think about 3 million boxes of cookies, 3.5 million boxes of cookies, that's a lot.
I could not.
I shared that with someone, and they were like, "Oh, nationwide?" I was like, "No, my council. What do you
No.
think?" They were like, "Wait,
Like in
what?"
4 cities. Yeah. That's great. Thank you so much, Monica. This was such a great
Thank
chat.
you.
It was you're just such a personable gal, and I love it.
Oh,
Thank you so much to
Thank you.
yes, Gretchen. She was such a great filter through both of us, and I just appreciate your team. I really do. You guys were
Thank
great to
you.
work
They
with.
are great.
Yeah,
They are
thank you.
great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep, no problem. I would just like to keep plugging our future event tomorrow. We do have the letter writing event, and that will be an hour-long Zoom that everybody can jump on. We'll be playing music. I know a couple branches are having some snacks, some coffee and some cocoa. They're getting their letters written to their powerful women and girls in their life. So that's going to be a really great event tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern. And we also have our virtual book drive, which is going to benefit Charlotte's Wings. They're a nonprofit organization that we heard about through Gretchen and Monica. So thank you again for that, because that is just a great organization. They get books into the hands of kids in the hospital that aren't able to get to a library. And as readers all know, we do need to sometimes just escape into a good book. And you need that especially at that time when you're sick and struggling. So thank you so much to everybody. If you want to join the Women's Empowerment Network, there is a QR code available right now. You'll be the first to hear about these events, and then you can get involved, help out, and contribute also. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us. And if you still have any questions or anything after we get offline, just ping anybody on the planning team and we will be happy to help you out. But thanks again so much, Monica. Thanks again, Gretchen. And we will see everybody tomorrow.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.